Brody's Cause on the outside. Final furlong of the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. Brody's Cause a final try. Brody's Cause and Corey Lannery a tremendous run. Brody's Cause at the 16th pole. Brody's Cause in front. Brody's Cause for Luis Saez to win the Toyota Bluegrass.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Nicole Russo. Welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm. Let's kick off the late pick 5 on Thursday with race number 6 by taking a look at the field of this staple at Saratoga over the last several years. It's the one and only 2-year-old two-turn race for babies. We're going the demanding distance of 1.1 miles, and boy, these colts better have some stamina.
Yeah, and you know what? There are a lot of outstanding pedigrees in here, the sort you look at and think that horse wants 2 turns on the dirt. This is a really exciting race, I think, at about the time of the year when we start getting really excited about the 2-year-olds.
And our friends at Spendthrift are represented by the number 8, Crossing the Moon. That Ridgeling is by their stallion, Cross Traffic. We'll take this field in program number order because we do begin with a coupled entry, owned by John Oxley, trained by Mark Cassey. Let's start things off with Lucky Curlin. And Lucky Curlin is by Classic Sire Curlin, the dam, a full sister to a stakes-winning dirt router named Sweet 17. The second dam was a stakes winner at 1 mile. And Lucky Curlin has 2 sprint starts where perhaps he had the misfortune to run into Basin, who looks like a really good 2-year-old for the Steve Asmussen barn. I think Lucky Curlin's going to relish stretching out in distance with 2 sprints to give him bottom.
Yeah, definitely. And he's run against some nice horses in those 2 sprints. You mentioned Basin. That first race was also won by Your Side, who came back to be a graded winner at this meet and is headed for the Hopeful. And you know, I have been waiting and waiting for this horse to get to go long. A son of Curlin from a family with some route ability. I'm very excited to see what this horse can do going 2 turns on dirt, which is absolutely what I think he wants to do. Not
to be outdone from a pedigree perspective is his coupled stablemate, and that is the 1A Enforceable by the great stallion Tappet. This is a full brother to Mohaman, a multiple graded stakes winning dirt router who is precocious enough, I believe, to win the Remsen at 2, going 1 1/8. He's a half to New Year's Day, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and is the sire of Maximum Security, who finished first in this year's Kentucky Derby. This horse was bought back for $775,000. The dam liked to go long, and Enforceable was not disgraced in 2 dirt sprints. I don't really think he cared for the turf last time out. It's possible this is the first time Enforceable will be allowed to strut his stuff doing what he wants to do, and that's go long on dirt.
I think that's exactly the way to look at this horse. Impeccable pedigree for 2 turns on the dirt. As you mentioned, plenty of juvenile ability in there as well. He ran well in those 2 dirt sprints. Then I think they were just looking to stretch him out by getting him on the turf because that's where the opportunity was. This is the first 2-turn dirt race that we've, been able to talk about for 2-year-olds this year. I think you can kind of draw a line through that turf start. And again, another horse with a great foundation going this demanding distance with those starts under his belt.
It's difficult for first-time starters to win at this elongated distance. Al Stahl will give it a try with the number 2, Imperare, and with this pedigree, why not? This is a son of Belmont Stakes winner Empire Maker. He is a half to Zazu, a multiple Grade 1 stakes winner going long. He is a half to Flashback, a Grade 2 stakes winner going long. I don't like that 16-day gap between the last 2 works, but I also trust Al Stahl.
Yeah, my only hesitation is that, I do think this is a family that develops a little bit as it gets older. This is a half to Art Princess, who is Group 2 placed, sprinting, had her best season as a juvenile. But Zazu was stakes placed as a 2-year-old before really blossoming as a 3-year-old. Flashback didn't debut until December of his 2-year-old year. Couple that with Empire Maker, and I think this one might need a little bit of time.
I'm really not sure what to think about the number 3 Mo and Go Nicole. He's by the great young stallion, Uncle Mo, who seemingly can do everything, but you look at the bottom of this pedigree, the Damahaft, Kuwai Katie, and Winding Way, and these were fillies that really liked to sprint. I was surprised that Mo and Go made his debut on turf in a two-turn race, and even more surprised that they're stretching him out even more for his dirt outing.
Yeah, you know what? I look at this family and there's a little bit of everything in it. Uncle Mo, we've talked about, they're just athletes. I think they would run over blacktop if you asked them to. Cow-Eye Katie was a graded winning dirt sprinter. Winding Way ran well on synthetic and on turf. Again, I think they were just looking to maybe go longer with this one when he debuted on turf. Perhaps Uncle Mo is making them think, this horse will want to go two turns. It's a multi-purpose pedigree. And the Jeremiah Engelhauer barn has been so good with their 2-year-olds this summer. So I'm kind of curious to see what Mo and Go does do here.
A first-time starter with a stout pedigree, to be sure, is the number 4 Bracketologist by Take Charge Indy, and he is a half to 3 black-type routers, including the very hearty Tempest Fugit. Take Charge Indy wins 12% with juvenile debut runners. This colt has the pedigree to run all day long.
He definitely does. That being said, we talk all the time about, Wayne Lucas being an old school trainer, obviously. He likes to run these horses fit. It's a big ask for one of these horses to go 2 turns on debut. I think they'd be happy with a solid late running effort from this horse. And then, perhaps he'll be really tight next time out.
And here's the formulator fact for the legendary Hall of Fame trainer, Mr. Lucas. Over the past 5 years, 2-year-old debut runners on dirt only 1 for 81 and a 15-cent return on investment. Todd Pletcher, a former D. Wayne Lucas apprentice, has both the 5 and the 6, Cowtown and Portos. Let's begin with Cowtown, a $260,000 yearling by Belmont Stakes winner and 2-time Jockey Club Gold Cup winner Tonalist. This is a horse, again, that has a lot of class and a lot of stamina in this pedigree and some steady workouts dating back to late May.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this long, steady work tab, and coming off a 6 furlong work, that should sure put some bottom in him. I think Todd Pletcher knew what he had and waited with this horse and took the time to let him develop. Tonalist, a big, leggy, scopy horse who really, I think, took a bit of time to grow into himself, starting to get good at about May of his 3-year-old year. A lot of his offspring have reminded me of that. They're long-legged, they have solid bodies, but horses with all that size and scope sometimes take some time to grow into themselves. If I were to guess, not having personally laid eyes on this horse, I think Cowtown was probably taking some time to figure out where all of his feet went and figure out what this game was about. And looking at that long, steady work tab, I think Todd Pletcher gave him the time to do that. And the fact that he's debuting here, I think Pletcher picked his spot with this horse well.
And Pletcher's number 6, Portos, has a lovely pedigree as well by Super Stallion Tappet. The dam was precocious enough to win it too. She ended up being a stakes-winning router, and this dam is a half to Power Broker, who is also a precocious 2-year-old going long on the dirt. The family of personal ensign winner Miss Shop, so this colt also has that stamina pedigree.
Yeah, and we talk all the time about the stamina Tappet imparts, of course, the modern-day king of the Belmont Stakes, but Tappet was also the leading freshman sire of his year, has sired a pair of 2-year-old champions in Hanson and Stardom Bound, so he can sire an outstanding 2-year-old going long. Plenty of 2-year-old ability in that female family, and you know what? Power Broker, who you mentioned, is by Tappet's sire Pulpit. This is also the family of graded winners Trap Shot and Tin Type Gal, both by Tappet. Tin Type Gal was a graded winner at 2, so this is a pedigree cross that really works well.
A really under-the-radar pedigree on a 2-year-old that should be a price on Thursday is the number 7, Zuzudini by Bernardini. The dam, I believe, won the Demoiselle, going a grade 2, going a mile and a half as a grade 2 2-year-old. Bernardini does well with 2-year-old first-time starters. This horse sold twice for 6 figures at public auction.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the foundation that Eddie Barker has put in this horse. He's got a mile workout two back. He's got a 6 furlong workout a couple back. Again, I'd encourage you to check out the Clocker reports put together by our colleague Mike Welsh and his team for a little bit more of what they think of those works. But just talking about what a stamina ask it is for these young horses to go this distance first time out, I look at those works and I have to think that they saw this race coming up in the condition book and they put the foundation in this horse to do it.
The 8 is Crossing the Moon by Spendthrift Stallion Cross Traffic. And this guy's taken money in both lifetime starts. He showed a little bit of speed at Churchill Downs in his career debut. And then I think Kenny McPeek just wanted to run him long. He ran him on the turf. The McPeek barn does very well with equipment changes, whether it's blinkers or Lasix. And I do like the fact that Joel Rosario takes the mount. While he is a half to Moonlight Romance, who is a stakes-winning turf sprinter at Kentucky Downs, there's some versatility in the female family.
There certainly is. The Dam's a half to a good dirt routing 2-year-old and some other black type earners. Cross Traffic finished as last year's leading freshman sire, boosted up there by juvenile fillies winner and champion Jaywalk, who of course did her running on the dirt. Again, I think this is another one where they went 2 turns on the turf last time just because that's where the opportunity was. And this one should have the fitness foundation under him and should move forward for Kenny McPeek.
Completing the field is the number 9, Ghost of the Mambo, for trainer Bill Mott. And I just think this colt was out for experience in his 6-furlong debut earlier this month. A $300,000 March purchase after breezing 21-3. He did not break out of the gate very well and kind of just ran around there. But there is some route in this pedigree. I wonder if maybe turf is going to be the option down the road, though.
It could be. I think this is a multi-purpose pedigree. Sire Ghost Sapper has had grade 1 performers on both the dirt and turf. When I see a 2-year-old with a quarter-mile breeze, I tend to interpret that as a horse who maybe takes a stride or two to get going and will showcase himself better going that 2 furlongs than the traditional one. Ran behind, I think, some nice horses last out, was off slowly going that 6 furlongs. Will have to break better, but gets more ground this time to recover if he is still learning.
We kick off the late pick 5 on Thursday at Saratoga with our Spa Baby race presented by Spendthrift. Where are you headed?
My gosh, it's very hard for me to look past the Cassie duo in here, even though I think they're going to be short priced. Both of them have a foundation, as we mentioned, with those prior starts and those sprint starts where perhaps they have a leg up on the first-time starters going this 1 1/8. As I mentioned, Lucky Curlin, we've talked about him a couple of times this summer, and I have been waiting for this horse to go long. He's run against some very nice horses previously, and you get enforceable in the bargain with him, where all he is a half or full to 3 graded winners. Behind them, I would look at Zuzudini, where again, I love the foundation they've put in this horse, and I'd suggest watching the board on the Todd Pletcher duo. I prefer others in here, but I don't think you can write either one of them off. They're both very juicy prices on that morning line, so I'm going to suggest that you watch where the money goes and how this race develops up to post time.
I'm with you on Lucky Curlin. I was also impressed with the professionalism he showed last time out. Tyler Gaffalione kept him covered up till about the 3/16 pole. He waited for his cue, and when he came to the outside, he was just no match for a couple of nice ones in Basin and 3 technique. I think that rating ability will suit him well as his pedigree going 1 1/8. And I'm with you with the Pletcher horses. I think Cowtown's going to run a good race. I'm a big fan of the tonalists. I think this is what his progeny are eventually going to do. They're going to want to go a distance of ground. Pletcher knows what he's doing, so maybe Cowtown can complete the exacta. I'll go 1-5 in Thursday's Spa Baby race presented by Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm.